people now behind bars, including a South Florida rapper who actually sings a popular song about murder.
YNW Melly's journey from a rising star in music to facing serious legal trouble has drawn attention from both fans and critics. His life, once full of promise, is now surrounded by controversy and unanswered questions. As he now faces charges that could lead to the death penalty, the world is watching closely to see what happens next in court. So, what is daily life like for Melly behind bars? Let's take a closer look inside YNW Melly's life behind bars. Background and charges. In February 2019, YNW Melly turned himself into the police after being accused of something very serious: 2 counts of first-degree murder. The victims were 2 of his close friends, Anthony Williams, known as YNW Sack Chaser, and Christopher Thomas Jr., known as YNW Juvie. The tragic incident happened early in the morning on October 26, 2018, in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. At first, the deaths were believed to be the result of a drive-by shooting. However, police later questioned that version of the story. According to the Miramar Police Department, the scene looked suspicious. They believed YNW Melly and his friend Cortland Henry, also known as YNW Bortland, staged the scene to look like a drive-by to cover up what really happened. Henry drove the 2 victims to a nearby hospital in a Jeep Compass, but sadly both were pronounced dead from multiple gunshot wounds. Reports from the South Florida Sun-Sentinel said that the crime scene had been carefully set up to mislead investigators. Police also found that Henry's version of the story didn't match the forensic evidence. This raised major concerns. Soon after Henry was arrested in Houston and brought back to Broward County, Florida, the Miramar police shared a statement on Twitter saying they strongly believe that Melly was the one who fired the shots that killed Williams and Thomas Jr. They also said that Melly and Henry worked together to make the deaths look like a random shooting. Despite the serious charges, Melly took to Instagram to share his side, claiming he was innocent and thanking fans for their support. Grief and public reaction. After losing his 2 close friends, YNW Melly shared an emotional message on social media. His post showed how deeply the loss affected him and how the serious charges were taking a toll on both his personal and professional life. He wrote, "A couple months ago, I lost my 2 brothers to violence, and now the system wants to find justice. Sick. Unfortunately, a lot of rumors and lies are being spread, but no worries. God is with me and my brother, YNW Bortland, and we want y'all to remember it's a YNW family. I love you. YNW Sack Chaser and YNW Juvie. Marnchok free us." Melly posted this message along with a photo of himself, Bortland, and the 2 victims. His lawyer, Bradford Cohen, also spoke to the media in October. He said, "Melly was clearly heartbroken after losing his best friends." Cohen described Melly as both sad and overwhelmed, not just from the loss, but also from the serious charges against him. The situation has left fans and the music world struggling with mixed emotions. On one hand, Melly is seen as a talented young artist full of potential. On the other hand, he's facing extremely serious allegations. His case highlights a bigger issue in the music industry: how young artists deal with sudden fame, violence, and the pressure of public and legal attention. Life in jail. Even behind bars, YNW Melly has tried to maintain a sense of normal life. He's used his money to buy commissary items, things like snacks, hygiene products, and books to make his time more bearable. Surprisingly, his music hasn't stopped either. While in jail, Melly managed to release new songs and even an album that performed well on the charts. This is impressive, considering how hard it is to make and promote music from prison. However, his time in jail hasn't been without trouble. In March 2019, Melly was punished with 30 days in solitary confinement for making a 3-way phone call, which is against jail rules because it can be a security risk. Then in May 2019, he received another 20 days in solitary for threatening and disrespecting a correctional officer. Conflicts like these can increase tension in jail and often lead to harsher punishments. September 2019, Melly caused a flood in his cell by stuffing a towel into the toilet. This act, likely out of frustration, earned him more time in solitary and placed him on probation within the jail system. Later in February 2020, Melly got into a physical fight with other inmates, resulting in another 30 days in solitary confinement. These repeated incidents show the ongoing challenges he faces while in jail, including anger and conflict. Interaction in the inmate community. Aside from behavioral issues, YNW Melly's health also became a serious concern. In April 2020, during the global outbreak of COVID-19, Melly tested positive for the virus. This raised alarms because COVID-19 spreads quickly in enclosed places like jails. His lawyer, Bradford Cohen, asked the court to let Melly serve his time under house arrest, arguing that the jail wasn't providing proper medical care or hygiene. Cohen told the South Florida Sun-Sentinel, "The jails and prisons in this country are creating an extremely dangerous situation by not providing hand sanitizer or proper hygiene care. He said he would be filing an emergency motion to ask for Melly's release due to the poor conditions. Despite the concerns, the request was denied. Reports from inside the jail showed that Melly's COVID treatment was very basic, mainly just Gatorade to stay hydrated and Tylenol to reduce fever and pain. This raised more questions about how well the jail was handling the health and safety of inmates, especially high-profile ones. These challenges show just how tough life behind bars can be, not just for Melly, but for many inmates who struggle with healthcare behavior management and personal growth under harsh conditions. The impact of Murder on My Mind in legal proceedings. YNW Melly is known for his emotional and sometimes graphic lyrics. One of his most famous songs, Murder on My Mind, has become a major talking point in his legal case. The track blurs the line between art and real-life events, and many people, including legal experts, have debated whether his lyrics reflect reality. Released in June 2018 under 300 Entertainment and originally uploaded to SoundCloud in March 2017, Murder on My Mind tells the story of a young man accidentally shooting a friend. The lyric, "I didn't even mean to shoot him, he just caught me by surprise," stood out to both fans and critics for how closely it resembled the charges Melly would later face. What's important to understand is that Melly wrote the song in 2016 when he was just 16 years old. At that time, he was already in trouble with the law for aggravated assault and firing a gun in public. This background adds more layers to how people interpret the song's meaning. After Melly was charged with murder in 2019, Murder on My Mind gained even more attention, not just from fans, but from the media and legal community. Social media exploded with theories linking the lyrics to the real-life case. Major news outlets like ABC News picked up the story, adding fuel to the fire and raising even more debate about whether rap lyrics should be used as evidence in court. Melly's legal troubles. In a 2018 interview with the Fader, YNW, Melly shared that during a court hearing, a prosecutor used the lyrics from his hit song Murder on My Mind to argue that he had violated his probation. Melly said that those lyrics played a big role in the court's decision to send him back to jail. This shows how powerful song lyrics can be when used in a legal setting. Even though there's been a lot of media talk, there's no confirmed evidence that his lyrics were officially used in his double murder trial. Still, using rap lyrics in court has raised serious concerns. Many critics say it can lead to unfair bias, especially against black artists, by reinforcing harmful stereotypes and making jurors see them as guilty based on their music, not actual facts. Because of these concerns, California passed a law that limits how lyrics can be used in court. Similar laws have been proposed in New York and even at the federal level, but in Florida, where Melly is on trial, there's no such protection, so using lyrics as possible evidence is still allowed. This situation shows the complicated line between art law and public opinion. Artists often use music to tell emotional or personal stories, some real, some fictional, but when lyrics are treated as confessions or clues, it creates a controversial debate about whether art can truly be used as evidence in a courtroom. Trial developments. In June, Melly's legal team asked the judge for a mistrial. They said the prosecutors had brought in testimony that had already been ruled inadmissible by the court. One key moment involved the mother of Melly's ex-girlfriend. She claimed that people close to Melly tried to bribe her, offering help if she agreed not to testify. During the trial, Melly's defense attorney, David A. Howard, called the courtroom process unfair and chaotic, pointed out that there were about 10 to 15 sidebars, private talks between lawyers and the judge that happened right in front of the jury. These constant interruptions, he argued, could confuse or influence the jury unfairly. Even so, Judge John Murphy denied the request for a mistrial and let the trial continue. Later, as the prosecution neared the end of their case, Melly's lawyers filed another mistrial request. This time, they challenged the reliability of the forensic evidence and digital data taken from Melly's phone by Detective Mark Moretti of the Miramar Police. The key point was a text message from Melly's phone. After a friend asked how he was doing following the deaths of Sackchaser and Juvie, Melly's reply read, "Shh, I did that." Howard questioned the credibility of the forensic work. He said the DNA results were unclear. The cell phone tower data was either inaccurate or too vague, and that such unreliable evidence could mislead the jury. Once again, Judge Murphy rejected the mistrial request. Jury deadlock and mistrial. Eventually, the trial reached a breaking point. The jury couldn't come to an agreement on a verdict, so in late July, Judge Murphy officially declared a mistrial. Later, a local ABC news station interviewed one of the jurors who remained anonymous. This juror explained that there were serious disagreements and internal tension among the jury that made it impossible to reach a final decision. Mistrial fallout and second trial. After the first trial ended in a mistrial, one juror accused another of being the only person against a guilty verdict and persuading two others others to join her, stopping the jury from reaching a unanimous decision. Following that, the Broward County District Attorney announced plans to retry YNW Melly the next week. His second trial for the double murder charges officially began on October 9, 2023. Unlike the complicated RICO case involving rapper Young Thug, which included 8 felony charges under Georgia's tough racketeering laws, Melly's retrial focused strictly on 2 counts of first-degree murder, making it a more straightforward case. New legal challenges before the retrial. In a hearing on September 27th, Judge Murphy reviewed new motions from Melly's legal team. One motion asked for the charges to be dismissed. Another requested that the Broward County State Attorney's Office be removed from the case entirely. These motions were based on serious claims Melly's team said that Detective Mark Moretti had executed a search warrant to take Melly's mother's phone, but did so outside of his jurisdiction, which may have made the search illegal. They also accused Moretti of using excessive force during that incident. YNW Bortland's legal troubles. Meanwhile, YNW Bortland, real name Cortland Henry, was dealing with his own legal issues. The preliminary hearing, originally set for September 29th, was delayed until January 12, 2024 due to unexpected developments. Then on October 2nd, Bortland was arrested in Miami on charges that weren't immediately made public. But soon after, the South Florida Sun-Sentinel reported that he was accused of trying to interfere with witness testimony. During Melly's first trial, specifically, Bortland allegedly tried to prevent witnesses from testifying or pushed them to lie under oath. Witness tampering charges expand. The next day, on October 3rd, even more serious charges were filed. YNW Melly, YNW Bortland, and another inmate named Terrence Mathis were all formally charged with witness tampering. Mathis, who was also in jail, reportedly helped Melly communicate with Bortland from behind bars. This witness tampering charge grew quickly. 6 additional related charges were filed against all 3 men in a separate capital case, which is legally distinct from the double murder charges, courtroom chaos, and heated accusations. On October 6th, Bortland's lawyers filed a motion to remove the Broward County prosecutors from the case. Court hearing was intense, full of objections, heated back and forths, and even a dramatic moment when Bortland's lawyer accused the prosecutors of committing a felony because of the high tension. Judge Murphy decided not to make an immediate ruling on the motion. Then on October 13th, he made a major decision. This is where your next section would pick up. Major shakeups in Melly's legal battle. Major turn of events. Judge John Murphy announced the removal of Assistant State Attorney Kristen Bradley, the lead prosecutor from Melly's first trial. Though Bradley was taken off the case, the Broward County State Attorney's Office, SAO, was still allowed to continue prosecuting Melly and his co-defendants. This meant the case would go forward under the same office, just without one of its top prosecutors. Originally, Melly's retrial was supposed to begin in October, but it hit another delay when the state decided to appeal a key court ruling, the controversial evidence. At the center of the appeal is a December 20th ruling that dismissed major pieces of evidence the prosecution said linked Melly to the 2018 murders of Christopher Thomas Jr. and Anthony Williams. The evidence included phone records, emails, social media posts, a music video Melly released shortly after the killings. Prosecutors argued this evidence was crucial, proving Melly and Cortland Henry, aka YNW Bortland, staged the murders to look like a drive-by shooting. While the 4th District Court of Appeal in West Palm Beach considers the state's appeal, trial judge allowed the attorneys to keep doing discovery work like depositions. However, the actual trial is on hold until a decision is made. The judge said this was necessary to avoid putting the state at a disadvantage by making them go to trial without important evidence. Lead detective under fire, adding to the drama. Detective Mark Moretti, the lead investigator from the Miramar Police Department, faced accusations of unethical conduct. These claims were serious enough to cause a reshuffling of the prosecution team. On October 12th, Alexandra Bucco was named the new lead prosecutor, replacing Bradley Bucco's top priority. Make sure the new jury is completely unaware of Melly's first trial to keep things as fair as possible. New charges and growing stakes, just as Melly. Retrial was about to begin. New charges were filed against him, including witness tampering in a capital felony case, directing a criminal gang, criminal solicitation to commit murder, conspiracy to tamper with a witness, according to prosecutors. Melly tried to orchestrate a plan from jail to stop a key witness from testifying at his first trial. They claim he used other inmates' phone calls and handwritten letters to reach out to members of the Bloods gang, asking them to silence the witness. Melly has since pleaded not guilty to all the new charges, but if he's convicted of witness tampering in a capital case, he could face life in prison, death penalty. Back on the table. Back in July 2022, a judge ruled that prosecutors couldn't seek the death penalty due to a procedural error. But in November, an appeals court reversed that decision, saying the prosecution had met all the legal requirements. So now the death penalty is officially back on the table, raising the stakes even higher for Melly as he waits for what's next in this high-profile case. The uncertain future of YNW Melly's music career. As YNW Melly's legal battles drag on, the future of his music career hangs in limbo. Despite his undeniable impact on hip-hop, these ongoing court proceedings are a harsh reminder of how an artist's personal life can overshadow their art. His story continues to stir conversations at the intersection of the justice system and the music industry. YNW Melly's early life and rise to fame. YNW Melly, born Jamal Maurice Demons on May 1st, 1999 in Gifford, Florida, came from humble and difficult beginnings. Raised in a small town with fewer than 1,000 people, high poverty levels, and above-average crime rates, Melly's environment played a major role in shaping both his worldview and his music. His mother, Jamie Demons King, had him when she was just a teenager and raised him as a single parent. With his father absent from the picture and finances always tight, Melly was exposed to the harsh realities of life from an early age. Music became his escape. Inspired by artists like Michael Jackson, Chris Brown, and Lil Wayne, he started singing and writing lyrics while still in elementary school. His talent and charisma quickly set him apart from his peers and planted the seeds for what would become a meteoric rise to fame. Early run-ins with the law. Melly's brushes with the law began early. At just 16 years old, he was arrested for allegedly shooting at a group of students near Vero Beach High School. That incident landed him in jail. It was during that time behind bars that Melly began writing the lyrics that would later launch his music career. His experience with incarceration had a profound influence on both his style and subject matter. His songs often reflect the raw, unfiltered realities of street life, something that made his music deeply relatable for many fans. Breakthrough in music. After his release, Melly began focusing more seriously on his music. In 2017, he dropped his first EP, Collect Call, which featured collaborations with artists like Lil B and John Wicks. It was the release of two singles, Murder on My Mind and Virtual Blue Balenciagas, that really changed everything. Murder on My Mind, hauntingly introspective track about violence and inner conflict, went viral and was eventually certified double platinum. Its eerie storytelling and emotional depth struck a chord with listeners and quickly turned Melly into a rising star. His unique blend of melodic hooks and gritty lyricism made his music stand out. He had a gift for channeling pain and chaos into art, and fans loved him for it. In 2018, he dropped the mixtape I Am You, which featured hits like 772 Love and Melly the Menace. This project showcased Melly's versatility and emotional range, further cementing his place in the industry. By the end of 2018 and heading into early 2019, YNW Melly was well on his way to becoming a household name, a young talent with a complicated past and a bright future. Just as his star began to rise, his legal troubles caught up with him, threatening to derail everything he'd built. A career on the rise interrupted by the law. At the height of his momentum, YNW Melly's career seemed unstoppable. His 2019 project, We All Shine, featured the breakout single Mixed Personalities with Kanye West. The song and its accompanying music video catapulted him into the mainstream, showing his ability to blend melodic hooks with genre-bending style and connect with audiences far beyond traditional rap fans. YNW Melly's ongoing legal struggles. As previously mentioned, YNW Melly Real. Named Jamal Dimonshaz faced a series of legal issues that have shaped both his personal life and music career. His run-ins with the law have ranged from aggravated assault to firearm possession, drug-related offenses, and ultimately murder charges. Each incident not only influenced his public image, but also foreshadowed the more serious legal troubles ahead. Early charges: aggravated assault, 2015. October 19, 2015, Demons was arrested near Vero Beach High School on charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and discharging a firearm in public. According to reports, Melly allegedly fired a gun at 3 individuals during an altercation. While no one was injured, the incident painted a troubling picture, especially for someone so young. He faced 3 counts of aggravated assault, a serious felony charge, and spent roughly a year in jail awaiting trial. This period behind bars became a formative time in Melly's life. It's where he began taking music more seriously, writing songs that would later define his unique sound. Upon his release, he was placed on probation, a temporary freedom that would prove to be fragile, probation violation, and more jail time. 2017. In 2017, Demons was arrested again, this time for violating his probation. While the details were not publicly released, Common violations include failing drug tests, missing check-ins, or associating with known criminals. He spent several more months in jail, once again pausing his momentum as a rising artist. More charges: narcotics and weapons. 2018. On June 30th, 2018, Demons was arrested in Fort Myers, Florida, and charged with possession of marijuana, possession of a weapon or ammunition by a convicted felon, possession of drug paraphernalia. These charges marked a clear escalation in severity, particularly the firearm possession, as a convicted felon, which carries steep legal consequences. Another arrest, January 2019. Just months later, on January 3rd, 2019, Melly was arrested again for possession of marijuana, comparatively minor offense, but one that came at a crucial time in his career. This arrest would soon be overshadowed by the most serious allegations, yet double homicide charges, February 2019. As covered earlier in February 2019, Melly was arrested and charged with the double murder of his close friends and collaborators Christopher Thomas Jr., YNW Juvie, and Anthony Williams, YNW Sackchaser. This case, still ongoing, represents the most critical legal challenge of his life and one that may determine whether his music career can ever truly resume.
People now behind bars, including a South Florida rapper who actually sings a popular song about murder.
YNW Melly's impact and the road ahead. YNW Melly's impact on the music industry is undeniable. Brought fresh narratives, emotional depth, and a unique melodic style that stood out in the rap scene. His ability to express vulnerability and raw emotion allowed listeners to connect with him on a deeply personal level. His storytelling, often vivid and haunting, blurred the lines between his real-life struggles and the personas he adopted in his music. Despite his rapid rise to fame, Melly's career has been overshadowed by controversy and legal troubles. The charges related to the deaths of two of his closest friends, both members of the YNW collective, cast a long shadow over his legacy. His incarceration and ongoing legal battles continue to complicate his position in the music world. Yet through it all, Melly has maintained a resilient and hopeful outlook. Even after having his phone privileges revoked, he's managed to stay in touch with fans through occasional social media updates. He continues to express his faith and optimism, while his mother and younger brother have publicly shared their unwavering belief in his release, often making spiritual affirmations and rallying fan support.